Hello and welcome to HR Voices, brought to you by BW People. HR Voices brings to the most insightful conversations with leaders shaping the future of work and workplace culture. I am Vishal Katoch, your host for today's episode. Before I introduce our guest for today's episode, here's a quick request to like, share, and subscribe to our videos on BW TV and follow bwpeople.in on LinkedIn to be a part of the fastest growing HR community in India. So, in this episode, we are joined by Mr. Navaneet Mishra. Navaneet is the Senior Vice President and Head of Hexagon's R&D Center in India. With nearly 3 decades of experience in the industry, he has built and scaled global R&D hubs and currently leads Hexagon's largest R&D operation worldwide with over 2,100 engineers. His expertise spans innovation-led growth, high-performance culture, talent development, and sustainable engagement. Passionate about building meaningful partnerships with academia, startups, and the community. Navneet also plays an active role in enabling the next generation of technology leaders. Welcome to the show, Navneet.
Thank you, Vishal. Thanks for this warm welcome.
So the first thing that I would like to ask you, Navneet, is with AI tools increasingly being integrated into the workplace, what consideration should HR teams keep in mind to ensure ethical use of minimize unintended impacts on employee trust and well-being?
See, we have to take AI as two parts. One is a typical workforce uses AI as a user. Yeah. So, for
Okay.
example, you go to your policy portal, and instead of searching one by one the PDF, you see a chatbot there in which you ask some question. Yeah. So that is
Yes.
your interaction with AI as a user. And the second, in typical R&D companies, AI as a developer, AI as a programmer, etc., etc. So these are two different roles that one gets exposed to. For AI as a user, HR certainly has to play a very critical role for two reasons. One is that they should, yeah, it might sound a bit technical, but they should also engage in and try to find out what level of data access is okay to give at the current nature of AI. For example,
Yes.
let's assume you want to ask a simple question: how many casual leave I am eligible for in this year? Yeah, and this is typically a generic policy. This is not much dependent on your level of seniority in the organization, your band salary band levels, etc. So it's a fairly straightforward question. It reads a policy document, data searches that out, natural language processing happens. It is using Gen AI in a very nice structured sentence. You get an output.
Yes.
Everything is good. Everything is stable. Yeah. Now let's make it slightly complicated and say that am I eligible for salary advance? Yeah.
Mm.
Now, salary advance depends on have you become a permanent employee or you are still on kind of probation, and probation is not yet done. So probably you are eligible, not eligible. So slightly more complicated case, your individual status also has to play a role. That means I will read some data about not only you as a name, but you as a person, you as an employee of this organization. What are your attributes? Yeah. Let's make the question slightly more complicated and say that what kind of, up to what value of car can I apply for car lease option as an employee? And now, even though my policy says that 40% or 2x of your annual salary is your car value, but to give you an amount, I need to get your salary data in the system.
Yes.
And that is where HR has to be very cautious that, is it something, are we ready for it? Can somebody misuse it? Can a person impersonate somebody else and ask the question and thereby know somebody else's salary? So a good test cases, and in addition to that, understanding of what kind of data access is allowed. So this is a very critical role that HR has to play along with the technical people, so that the right kind of access are given and right kind of questions are being asked or answered. Yeah. The second part, we said AI as a developer and AI as a programmer. So typically what happens in most of the developed organizations, they create a central hub which gives you kind of guideline. For example, our guideline says that we should not, using Office computer, use the generic chat GPT. We have a paid version of chat GPT, and that is what we should use, which protects our data from going out, but brings the external knowledge in, which protects our IP and so on and so forth. Now, this information is there, but is it known to a new person who has joined your organization in last 1 week? Yeah. Are you ensuring that in induction itself, such kind of informations are communicated? Because AI is taking, as you're rightly saying, that ethical usage and ensuring that the data or the right IPs with the right set of people is very, very critical. So HR also plays a role for AI as a developer in ensuring that at the right time in the right induction batches, right kind of communication is done so that there is no harm done for internal IT. So broadly, this is what I would like to answer your question.
Great. Nicely explained, Navneet sir. I now want to know from a leadership perspective, what have been the most significant challenges in sustaining team morale and mental clarity over the past few years?
So yeah, let me be honest. Yeah, whenever somebody asks me a question, how are you? And we always try to give a positive answer. Hey, are you growing? Yes, we are growing. What was your headcount last year? We were at this number. We are at this number. But what get missed inside these number game is that, unfortunately, not many people are asking me the question, was any of your team members were let go during last year? Did one of your units, or if not the whole unit, is some sub area was let go because there was not enough business on the table? Yeah. What happened to those people? Yeah. And when something like this happens, irrespective of how small that impact is, probably out of 2,000, only 5 people are getting impacted, 7 people are getting impacted. So statistically, it's not so significant. But for those 7 individuals, it's change. It's a big change. Yeah. It is a change which they have mentally never planned for. I have not planned for it. So the idea is, when you do this, it's not that the information remains within these 7 people, it eventually spreads out. And it is not their fault. It's not that they were technically incompetent or communication-wise deficient. It happened because we tried to do a product line and that just didn't take off. Yeah? So something like this happens, and then there is a morale which comes down. And then we have to show by all our actions and intent and communication, both actions and communications are important, is to say that we are trying our best to fit them in some other product line, in some other business where it will still make sense that their technical skills are being used. So this is one big challenge that happens. It's not very frequent, but it is there. And when it is there, it's really a big morale hitting thing. And we have to ensure that the leadership, the HR are fully in tune and making a very consistent communication and ensuring that all the due diligence are done and that we still try to find something from within the organization as well. The second part is, which is also, that's how the nature of the market is that people will have some thought is, am I getting comparable to industry? Yeah. There is no definitive answer to this. So sometimes when the annual increments are happening and the business is not so good, then the thoughts start happening in their mind. Am I getting paid equitably or not? So while you cannot disclose the salary data, you cannot disclose your metrics, you cannot disclose against market where you are, but you still have to ensure by doing the right things that parity is maintained as much as possible. Yeah. Will any time be there that 100% of the employees will get as compared to outside or as compared to a benchmark all the time? It's just not possible. Yeah. There is a cyclic thing. Sometimes they are above, sometimes they're slightly below, and you have to manage this. So these two are the key factors that I see as leaders we face as challenges. And what I've realized is there are times when you have to make a confidential conversation, and there are times when you make a public conversation, but be always truthful and say that not everything is possible all the time. Be humble, be vulnerable about it. Yeah. And that is when people will believe you and give you the space that, yeah, not everything is solvable immediately. Some things will take some more time to get it fixed.
It's very fascinating to know this, sir, that how everyone is being addressed and accepting the honesty, accepting the fact that not everyone can be addressed, but there are still measures being taken to address even. That's a great thing to hear. As the head of Hexagon's largest global R&D hub, How are you fostering employee well-being and work-life balance, especially in high-pressure innovation environments?
So first, let me take you an example which has nothing to do with the job or work related. I will take a general example of physics. Yeah.
Hmm.
For example, you take a ball and hit it with your leg, extreme high force, but there is nothing against it, so ball travels. And when the ball is traveling, it is accelerating, it is going up, eventually falling down, etc. But it is not under stress. Yeah. Take a ball, put it against a wall, and then hit the ball, and you see the ball is getting squished between
Hmm.
your hit and the wall, and that is the stress. Yeah. And that is how we define stress in physics. That's how we define stress in life. The stress in life is because when the force is applied but you're not able to move.
Great.
And this is what we have to get as leaders, that people are stressful if they are not able to find enough open space to be creative, to be loving what they are doing, to be recognized. And then it's not stress. Yes, I'm not saying it's not more work, but it is not stressful because you think you are charting your career. You think you are driving what needs to be done. You feel like an owner, and then everything falls in place. But if you apply pressure and there is office politics, if there is team dynamics which is not letting them perform, and that is when the stress happens, and that is when it feels like that work-life balance is affected. For me, I have, as an individual, I have defined work-life balances. In the morning, do I feel like excited to come to office? And in the evening, do I feel excited to go back home? And as of now, for last many years, the answer has been yes to both. And for me, that is balance enough. I'm not there measuring number of hours that I spend here, spend in traffic, spend at home. No, the idea is most of the drive has to come from you. You have to feel like an owner. And this, for this to be done, this to be achieved, it's not that you need a big designation. You can be feeling as an owner even when you are a scrum master of a team, you are a developer for a certain topic, you are an architect for a given problem. So it's not that you only need to have these big designations to feel like owner. And once you feel that you are the one owning this piece of business, you are the one driving it, then it is not an issue. And thereby, and taking this as a cue, we have done a couple of large initiatives informing people about how they can achieve um, confidence, achieve comfort, and also achieve growth without feeling stressed about it. And the stress only comes, at least that's what I have realized, if you want to do something and you're not allowed to do something. Never that you just wanted to run and you could run and you feel stressed. No, when you run, people who are doing evening rounds, people who are going to gym, they're not feeling stressed. They want to do this. Yeah. So that is how I see it. Yeah. And this is how we are trying to fix this in our organization by drives and ensuring that you give them freedom to do it, and then you realize you achieve much more and they are happier than before.
Nicely explained, Navneet sir. The way you explained stress is one of the things that I'm gonna take away with this meeting. I'm gonna remember sustainability. Coming to the next question, which is on sustainability. Sustainability is becoming a central value in corporate strategy. How do you embed sustainable practices not just in product innovation but also in the workplace culture and HR policies, sir?
Sometimes what has happened is, and please don't mind me saying this, is that sustainability as a word has been hijacked by different factors, because they also started becoming crucial for different reasons, for this related to climate, related to weather, related to planet. Uh, and sustainability also for some time was a reactive measure. So you burn fossil fuels and then you feel guilty, then you put the trees somewhere. Yeah. Instead of saying that, okay, can we from the very start will not use planet's resources disproportionately. Yeah. And that is one part of it. And the second part of it is, when you say somebody is sustainable, an individual is sustainable, that means what you're essentially saying is that in difficult times, the person or the individual or the company will be able to survive. And what do you mean by difficult times? Difficult times means if the business is not good, if there are compliances that need to be done which you're not following. So what we have done is we have started very clearly, actively measuring our compliance. So when you run a company in India, there are many labor laws that has to be followed. There are many taxation practices that needs to be done. And if you, as a very conscious leader, take this choice and tell your direct reports that this is what I'm here for. Yes, there are some compliances which will be a bit painful, but if you are on the right side of the line, then you always feel confident, and you know that even if there were questions, even if there were audits, even if there were details, you will always be able to sustain the business. And this is also a key sustenance, because sometimes a foolish practice, trying to cut a shortcut, will not only cut a sorry figure for the organization, but all the employees and their families whose life is dependent on some sense in this organization. So that is one way the HR comes and say that whatever we will do, it will be ethical, it will be sustainable. Yeah. So this is something which I have seen paying dividends, though there is a pain, but for last uh, more than 5 6 years, we are at more than 99 compliance percentage compliance in any given month. We have find a way to measure this as well. And second is when we talk about resources of the earth, so that has to be planned at the time of decision itself. This is very funny that you first do all the burning and then you say that, okay, how to fix it. So while you're designing, if you're designing a cafeteria, are you designing it in a way that is sustainable? Are you implying to the employees that, hey man, if you're taking the food in your plate, it could be free, but take only that much which you can consume or which you think you will consume, right? So these are the practices, and there are different small nudging ways in which you can do this. You can put guidance, you can weigh the wastage of the food every day and show to the employees how much is being wasted, so they start becoming conscious. Instead of cups, you start giving them real cups, so that they started maintaining it. So there are these stages, these things that you can do, which will at a very small level make your unit, your setup sustainable, both that your business can run long and that your people and you are not so much of a burden on the environment. So yes, it is indeed possible by HR policies and all that, but you have to be a bit conscious in the very beginning about it. Yes.
Thanks for that perspective, Navneet sir. And how are tech companies, especially leaders in the industry, approaching diversity and inclusion within their workforces? What impact has this had on team dynamics and problem-solving capabilities?
Different setup has different curves. Yeah, I have seen it being practiced. Yeah, many companies across the globe are practicing it. I have seen differences in the way companies interpret it, they practice it, and again, I have seen differences even within the same company based on which country you are working out of. Yeah. But one thing which is at least common across all of these is, and which I have experienced as an individual, is that whenever you have diverse set of people, and that diversity could be geographic in nature, could be gender in nature, could be what kind of backdrop that you have come in nature, it could be various things. But what I've realized is the more diverse the background is, or the other things are, the different ideas come naturally to them. So something which will come, I being an engineer will speak in certain way and think in certain way. But if I had somebody who is an artist by profession in the same room discussing the same topic, he or she will bring a very different idea to solve the same problem. And that is what we will be doing if there are different people. If the gender is different, again, there will be different ideas. And we all have understood this, even in the very hardcore work of IT product delivery, which is, everybody will say it's pure science and where is the interpretation coming from? But trust me on this, that the use cases, the test cases, they all come from how different set of people you have in the ecosystem. So if your product manager is from another country, and if your developer is from another state, and you have Scrum Master being from another gender, and somebody else who is a pre-sales is of another race or ethnicity, they all bring various different perspective, and your product and solutions start becoming more sustainable because you thought of all the scenarios even before it hit the market. Yeah. So I see, I'm definitively very interested in this. We are trying to do this. At the same time, one thing is very clear, just for the heck of it, we will not do it. We will do it if somebody is is capable of doing this. But yes, we will make, instead of stairs, a ramp. That certainly we will do. For example, when we try to hire women in our workforce, people who have taken breaks. Yeah. So we did the first channel. It failed terribly. Yeah. We spent a lot of money. We interviewed a lot of people. We offered them. Finally, we could offer only two of them, and one of them left the organization. So it was a lot of money, a lot of effort wasted in just onboarding one person. And we realized that what we are doing wrong, and terribly wrong, is, for example, we didn't tell our frontline interviewers not to ask the question, why did you take the break? Because that is when what you're doing is, anyway, somebody has taken a break. So when you're hiring not based on the performance, you're hiring based on the potential. And that is where the direction has to be. You cannot be asking these wrong questions in the interview, that why did you take the break? Because that is when you are hurting them, making them lose their confidence. So we said, no, these questions will not be allowed. Number two, that they will be called not a job, but high paid internship. So we will pay them much more than intern, 2x, 3x, but we will say that it is still an internship, so that they know that they are getting some mentorship, they are getting some guidance, and we assigned a mentor to them. So we made these four changes. The fourth one was that there is always a vacancy. They know that there is a vacancy 6 months from now, the moment I'm onboarded. If I do everything well in the 6 months, that job is mine. So you give them a mentor, you don't ask them silly questions during the interview, you make them tell them that it is just an internship, and then we could, out of 13 offers that we made, 12 joined, and all 12 continue with our organization. So we have to understand where we have gone wrong. And I have seen that these things work, and work beautifully well. One of the ladies, she joined after 13 years of break, 1-3. And it was possible because we understood where it is going. And it is our job as leaders to take it down. This kind of things won't come up from bottom. You will have to tell people that this is what is our stand, this is what we want to achieve, and this is what eventually, the more diverse the set are in a decision making, the more beautiful and more sustainable the decision is. And this I am seeing worldwide. So yeah, that will be my answer to that.
Great, sir. The way you give the real life examples, I think it becomes more clear to the viewers to understand this in a better way. Lastly, sir, what advice would you offer to young professionals and HR leaders trying to navigate the intersection of technology, purpose, and people?
So whether HR people, whether young professionals or experienced professionals or whomsoever, people are the most important thing. Yeah. Clear, no confusion, not once, not ever. Now, if you want people to grow and deliver, you have to necessarily give them a purpose. Yeah. And purpose needs articulation, purpose needs detailing, purpose needs, most importantly, a very deep empathy. When you're talking to a set of people, you should understand where they are coming from. And if you're able to get it, then you naturally, when you communicate to them, they relate to what you're saying and get a purpose. Once people have the purpose, technology, frankly speaking, is a tool. It will keep changing. 5 years go back in the journey, there was hardly anyone talking about AI. I mean, Hexagon we set up India's first AI community center in 2020 December, but there was hardly at that time in a mass volume talk about this. Prior to that, there were some other technologies. And we have seen, frankly speaking, I'm in this industry now for 3 decades almost. I have seen all the flavors, not all the flavors, many flavors. Yeah. So, and I realized that there is always a learning curve. There is no way you can say, all done now. Something new will be coming. So technology has to be taken as a tool, and that is where it has to be understood. If we have to grow our career, and growth, I repeat myself, that growth is not only your, how do I say, a right, but growth is your duty. Growth is your responsibility to your family. Growth is your responsibility to the team, and growth is your responsibility toward yourself. A living being has to grow. You have to grow. So if you have to grow, then you have to be recognized for something. To get recognized, don't get recognized by a technology, because technology will change its face and name and shape. Yeah, that will happen. But if you say that you are a problem solver, that people can recall you and remember you when they have a problem, then they would like to reach out to you, then growth will naturally happen, because people who solve problem are assigned more problems by the organization, because that's how organization thrives. Yeah. So that is how this thing is working. Keep people focused, ensure that they are happy people. Don't hold on to promotions, don't hold on to giving them good feedback. Yes, there will be sometimes there are errors, obviously you have to discuss that as well, but celebrate their successes, talk about it more and more, be at least open to them whenever they have a chance to speak to you. Do all of this. Happy people, give them purpose, everything will be achieved. Technology as a tool will come and support whatever you're trying to do.
Thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights with us today. It's been absolute pleasure learning from your extensive experience and perspectives on innovation, talent development, and the future of technology, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Vishal. Thanks for your time.
To our listeners, thank you for tuning into the episode of HR Voices. We hope you find this conversation as engaging and insightful as we did. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to BW TV and stay connected with us on LinkedIn to stay updated on the latest in HR and workplace trends. Thank you.